In recent videos, we built this gravel road. Having rock on a road can be nice in some cases, but rocks are heavy and they're expensive, especially if you have to haul them a distance like way out here. Aside from the cost, I don't want rock on most of my roads. I'll tell you why, and I'll show you how to keep the wet weather from tearing up and washing out your roads, or any other kind of weather that would tend to tear up your roads. Did I say that right? I think I meant to specify dirt roads. Something didn't seem like it came out right. Let's go check out some of my dirt roads. I'll show you how I keep them in tip-top shape. We finally got a good shot of rain the last few days. After the first few rains of the season, I like to check out my dirt roads, see how they're holding up, see if there's anything I need to give attention to. First thing I notice here, there's been water running down the tire tracks. The concerning part is we have dirt building up and accumulating right here. That tells us that water is carrying this soil from upstream. We know it's only coming from upstream because dirt does not like swimming upstream. It only likes to swim downstream. If we go upstream a short distance, we can see water is starting to dig a rut in the tire track. This situation is probably not going to improve on its own. It's probably only going to get worse. The real problem here is the road is not crowned or side sloped enough for the water to run off, but this is not the time of the year to be regrading the road. Slopping around in the mud with equipment during the wet season is only going to make things worse. We're going to go right above where that problem is and make a water bar, a small ditch diagonally across the road, carry the water off the road just uphill from where that bad spot is, to keep the running water out of that bad spot. I piled the tailings on the downhill side of the trench to help keep the water from running over the downhill side of it. We'll run that water out into the ditch so it's off the road. A pick or a hoe, some other kind of tool can work well for this, in some cases even better, especially in rocky soil. In this soft decomposed granite, a shovel works well, and it can do some other things along the way I like to do. That sure is a nice looking gravel road, but there are reasons I don't want to put rock on this one. We'll get into that up around the corner as we road maintenance our way up around the corner. If we look up this road, I don't see any fresh dirt accumulating anywhere, and I don't see any ruts forming. Aside from just a few bad spots like the one we just fixed, this whole stretch of road has been trouble-free for years since I last graded it. It has just enough of a side slope for the water to run off of it without forming any ruts or puddles for water to accumulate. We've come up maybe 150 yards from where we started. If you have too long a stretch of road where water is running off the road into a ditch and off the hillside, other places into a ditch, you can end up with a situation where you can have too much water in a ditch during really wet weather, which can cause problems for culverts down below and other things down below. This was getting to be one of those situations where it was such a long stretch, it was getting to be a problem downstream. A lot of water can come down from the road up above this point. When I graded this road years ago, I used the blade on the dozer to dig this big water bar to carry the water from the ditch up above across the road into the gully down below, with a beaver dam analog down below it to catch any sediment so it doesn't go down, get in the fish's eyes. Ideally, instead of a water bar across the road in a case like this, we would put a culvert in. Maybe someday I will. That would make for a nicer road with less maintenance. Every once in a while I have to clean these water bars out. I like to do it right when the rainy season starts. Then later on in the rainy season I will check them again, see how they're holding up, see if they need any cleaning out. I prefer to do it in the middle of the rainy weather, put on my rain boots, my rain clothes. It's an excuse to go out and play in the water and the mud. It only takes a little bit of maintenance to save you the cost and hassle of having to rebuild or repair a washed out or rutted up road. I had a spot here that was starting to form a rut. Fresh dirt was accumulating here. I put in this water bar right above that spot last year. Just clean it out a little bit. Down below it, we can see it's working. The leaves and needles are covering the ground. They're not being moved around by water or showing any signs that anything bad is happening here, which is good. We like when bad things don't happen. Right above this water bar, we have a little bit of minor rutting happening in this tire track. Because we have a little bit of a hump here in this spot that keeps the water from running off, that's what's causing it to go down the tire track. This needs to be regraded someday to knock that hump down so the water will run off. For now, we'll keep these water bars in here maintained to get that water to go off the road. Pile the tailings on the lower side. Keep that water from running over the lower side. The rest of this stretch, we lose that hump so the water can run off. The rest of it looks good. The reason I don't want to put rock on this road and most of my roads, I don't need to use this road very much in wet weather. In the wettest of weather, when a road would not be able to handle being driving on, wouldn't be able to handle you driving on it much, I just stay off of these roads. And this area, I have plans to eventually do a timber harvest. So many of these trees need to be thinned out, sent to the lumber mills. If you put all that expense and effort into putting rock on a road, then you log on top of that, run equipment on it, drag logs on it, you're going to mess up all that rock. Or you have to be really careful to make sure you don't mess up the rock on the road. I've seen many cases where people have logged an area, they had rock on the road. When they're done, they have to go back and replace a lot of the rock. The majority of my roads on this place are for managing my forest. If there's rock on the road, it limits what you can do. If you need to repair the road, change the road, make it so a log truck can get up the road, or whatever you need to do, you can't easily do anything to the road because you have this layer of rock on it. You have this huge investment in that you need to protect. Now we mysteriously just showed up over here on the rocked road, which is working out really nicely for winter access. But when it comes time to thin out these overstocked trees, this rocked road is going to make harvesting the logs out of here much more difficult. How am I going to get these logs out of here without damaging the road? If I cut the logs for my own mill, I can cut them into short pieces. I can pick them up with the tractor, carry them out, load them onto the trailer, get them out without damaging the road. But there's way more timber in here that I ever want to put on my mill. I want to ship those to the commercial mill. They don't want short logs there. Rick from the channel Two Brothers Outdoors made a good video recently about cutting logs for the mills. He was talking about lengths of 8 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot. He's in the Northeast where the mills will take those lengths. Out here, they don't want those short logs. The sawmills want 32s, 40s. They will take them down to 16, but if you have a lot of those, you need to put those on a mule train, which would cause problems for me as far as loading them. The veneer mills want them even longer than that, 34s, 42s, or 17 minimum. The way we know how to log long logs around here is to skid them or drag them down the roads and skid trails, which would cause a lot of problems for this rocked road. I could probably get away with skidding a few logs down here. If I did a lot of them, the rock would still be here. I might be able to regrade it afterward, get away with the whole thing. But when we start mixing dirt up into the rocks, that's when we have a problem. Or I eventually plan on putting top rock on this 4-inch. If I skid rocks down, not skid rocks, skid logs. If I skid logs down that top rock, it's going to mix up the 4-inch with the top rock, which defeats the purpose of putting the top rock on it. To prevent that, we would have to somehow carry the logs down the road. It's a little hard to pick up 32-foot logs and then maneuver them through trees that are only 16 feet apart. Some places even more narrow than that. It's like when a dog gets a big stick in its mouth, then tries to run through the door and has that situation. I don't like doing that when I'm logging. That can all be solved with different types of equipment that can pick up the logs, carry them down the road vertically. Wait, that's not vertically, that's vertically. That's horizontally. This parallel to the road instead of perpendicular. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't have that equipment handy. It increases cost. The point is, having rock on the road limits what you can do. It's like if your spouse buys a new carpet for your living room or a nice hardwood floor, your days of riding your dirt bike through the house, doing circles in the living room, are probably going to be over. It limits what you can do. When it comes time to log in here, I'm sure I'll come up with some kind of a solution. I have a few things in mind, all of them more expensive ways to do it. One of the reasons I decided to rock this road for my winter access instead of the other road or another way is this road doesn't go through a whole lot of timber compared to the other ones. At least not alongside the road. It accesses more timber at the end of the road, but in that case, they can just bring a log truck up the road. We can load up at the end of the road, skid all the logs to that spot where we don't have to skid them on the road. In your situation, maybe logging isn't even a thing. I'm just using logging in my situation as an example of something that could be problematic for a rocked road. Before you decide to put rock on a road, you might want to consider what activities might you be doing in the future where that rock could be a real problem. I think that's the point I'm trying to make with this video. Does this video actually have a point? I think that's a point. Is it a good enough point to make a video about? I don't know about for you, but it works for me. The real question is, will it actually live up to the title and thumbnail I put on it? Now that's going to be questionable. I know having rock on this road could create some future challenges, but to have this kind of year-round, all-weather access, in this case, it's totally worth it. Now we suddenly and mysteriously showed up back here on the dirt road. I was originally thinking of putting the rock on this road, making this my all-weather access road. This road has some advantages, but it's about 1,000 feet longer. It would have a much greater initial cost for the rock and more future maintenance cost. Also, this road accesses more timber. There's going to be more of an impact in the future on this road than the other one. I decided it would be best to leave this as a dirt road, but there is a segment up here I would like to put rock on. I'll show you why. As we go around this corner and up this hill, this part of the road has some real issues. This spot has always had a hard time keeping itself held together. Not because it's around a corner and up a hill, it's because of the type of soil here. It's an even more granite-y granite than the rest of the granite-y granite around here. It's all granite-y granite here, which is highly erosive, but this even more granite-y granite is even more erosive than the rest. Even when I keep these water bars well maintained, it's still digging deep ruts from water that's only coming from a short distance. It doesn't take much water to wash this out. It won't be long before these small ruts dig themselves out to be big ruts. When I last graded this road, I had it insloped toward the ditch so water could run off, but this type of soil, when you drive on it, the tire tracks dig ruts, then the water just goes down those ruts. If I could put 2 or 3 dump truck loads of 4-inch minus on this, I think that would cover up this really erosive material and put a stop to a lot of that. And there's no timber in this spot anyway to be dragging down the road. If I do any logging up above, we would just bring a log truck up here, pick the logs up there, instead of skidding them down the road to a landing down there. Another thing to consider with this road, in the event of a wildfire, when I consider the landscape around here, this road, the way it ties into roads above the property and below the property, I think it would be not unlikely they would use this road for a fire line, especially with the fuels treatment I've done on both sides of it. One of the reasons I decided not to go with this road for the rock, most of the length of the other road is down in the shade, whereas this one is up in the sun. It grows grass and weeds in the winter. No, not in the winter, in the summer. This is the winter, the weeds and grass are all gone. That will lead to more work keeping the vegetation mowed down. And on top of that, I could just picture a dozer operator, they're usually contractors, coming through here, building this fire line in an attempt to get rid of all the grass and weeds. They might push a lot of my rock off the road. That's probably a remote scenario that will probably not happen. It might even be borderlining on paranoia. The point of that is, a lot of times we make decisions without considering a lot of the possibilities that could happen. It's good to think about things you wouldn't think about before you make major decisions. Most of what I've been talking about here applies to me. It probably doesn't apply to most people, most situations, but I think that's one of the great things about YouTube. For example, I watched that Two Brothers Outdoors video about something that just doesn't apply to me much because they do things so much differently there. But sometimes that's good because it helps us think outside the box, think of things that might actually apply to us. I have a few more roads and water bars to go touch up today. Never mind that the shovel I was holding suddenly disappeared. Don't pay any attention to that. It didn't happen, nothing to see here. Most of what I have to do, I've already shown it before on other videos. I'll put some of those up here if I can find them. You can go watch those, give you something to do until my next video comes out.